Well, I'm back in the hot tub, and who should happen to walk in the door? I don't even know this guy's name, but he's sort of this weird, smarmy, affiliated with the Catholic Church guy. Like, he worked for them. He's not a priest, but he, did stuff for them, media, stuff like that. My sense is that he did some work for them to sort of rebrand, especially the Archdiocese of Denver, who came under fire for allegations of criminal behavior, pedophilia, sexual assault, and so on. If you read the letter that the Archdiocese published, it's so off point. It is a horrible obfuscation of responsibility and denial. And this guy probably helped them through that. Although I haven't gotten into it that much. But as we were talking, he started talking about poverty. He was lamenting about how lazy people are a drain on society. Now, I don't know that much about his politics. I can speculate. But I said to him, so what could society do to help them? Like, what about people that can't work? You're describing people that don't want to work or are some sort of drain on society, but what about people that can't work? And he said, I don't know. I said, can they be on welfare? Can the state support them? Like, what about people that don't have legs or people that are severely mentally ill or disabled? And he said, but if you don't, you have to want to work. You have to want it. And I said, I don't get it. What does that have to do with it? And he said, back in the 80s and 90s, we implemented all kinds of welfare programs that just led to all kinds of lazabouts. We did all these single mother programs that led to women not working and just living off of the government. And we can't have that. You have to want to work. And I said, you don't think that women who are single mothers have enough to do raising their children? Like, you don't think that they should be home cooking and cleaning and raising children, educating and playing sports with them and enrolling them in after-school activities and tutoring them and things like that? And he said, no, because of course a conservative believes that that's what women should do. It's interesting to me how conservatives want women that are on welfare to get up and work, but they want other women to stay home and take care of the children and clean and cook. They want trad wives, but then they want all these other women to get off their lazy bonbon eating asses and get back to work. We can't just have the state become your husband and support you in your womanly activities. You have to want it. And I said, do people that don't work or can't work, do they have any value in society at all in your estimation? And he said, no, not much. I said, so mentally retarded people and people with severe disabilities, these people have no value to you? And he said, no, but I don't know that I should have to pay for them to be successful. And I said, surely though, we shouldn't just abandon them. Like, surely they deserve a certain quality of life. They deserve to have every advantage that all the rest of us have. I mean, it's not their fault that they're handicapped in some way or that they lost their legs or that they are mentally ill or even that they were abandoned by their husband and are now left to raise children on their own. He went off topic. He started talking about deadbeat dads. He didn't seem to like them either, but he also wasn't as harsh because they work. But we can't have women living off the state. He was adamant about that, and he didn't think his tax dollars should have to go towards these lazabouts. There's altogether, this is what he said. He said, there's altogether too many people living off the system. And I said, how many people are living off the system? How many people are foregoing a career that they could have so that they can just cash their government check? And he said, I don't know, but I know it's a lot. Well, I'm no statistician, but my understanding of the numbers is that these freeloaders, or the people that take advantage of the system, those numbers are actually pretty low. But it begs the question, in a conservative society like the one we live in, is it really we're going to throw away the baby with the bathwater? So if there's any people who are leeching off the system, then nobody can have benefits. That's what the conservatives, and that's what this conservative was saying. Now, this baffles me. As a progressive, it makes sense for us to do all we can for the people that can't do things for themselves. And that would include supporting single mothers. Because I'm of the impression that the most important thing for a single mother who's struggling is to raise good children, to spend as much time as she can raising those children and doing the best job possible. If she's distracted by work and bills and stuff like that, she can't do the job that is now at her feet, that is now her responsibility. She's been abandoned by her husband. In other words, the state steps in and says, we'll prop you up. We'll become your husband. Now, we're not going to treat you like your husband did, and we're not going to treat you like a traditional husband would. We're not Christians. The state is secular. What we will do is, through science and our understanding of socioeconomic issues and so on, through the soft sciences, we're going to provide you with all the tools that we can demonstrate will help you. And make no mistake, these ideas of, the social system like food stamps and so on, that's just us as progressives walking across the aisle and shaking hands with the conservatives. These women need cash. They don't need stamps that are only good for food and diapers. They need cash money. It's up to them to figure out what to do with it. They are, after all, the mother. They know what they need most and best, and they know what they need for their children. Now, we can do everything as progressives to help educate them to be the best possible mothers. We can give them doctors and support and psychologists and books to read, or specialists to come in and show them what they're unwilling to read, perhaps. As a progressive, I understand that unwanted children and burdensome children often turn into criminals. They often have psychological trauma that leads to things like abuse of each other, abuse of their spouses and children, abuses of the system, and they become criminals, or they're more likely to engage in criminality. It's in my best interests and society's best interests to invest in these people as much as possible and support them with every available opportunity, because ultimately it's not that child's fault that his father left or that his mother is single. And they have every right, and we have every responsibility, and we have every incentive to do everything we can to make their life as good as possible, so that when they graduate from high school and college and all that, they become productive members of society, well-educated, well-supported, so now they can support themselves and their children, because perpetually being in poverty is fully a drag on the entire system. But if we were to prop up, if all boats were to rise through a massive investment in society and the people that need this money the most, it wouldn't be more than a couple generations, and poverty would be a thing of the past. Or at the very least, the poverty line would rise. What we consider poverty would be a livelihood and a quality of life much higher than it is today. But conservatives aren't interested in that. They don't want their money to go to these laysabouts. They don't want their money to go to single mothers or to people that have severe handicaps, or to people that were, let's say, victims of incest, and so they can't think normally. They have mental deformities or physical deformities or both. Imagine you are a conservative and you're trying to argue against the state supporting a victim of incest so that they can have a high quality of life. They were a victim of incest. They were the product of an incestual relationship through no fault of their own. They were born into this world with a massive disadvantage. Why should we just throw them away like they're not even people? Why should a progressive bow the knee and say, well, we'll give them food stamps? Why don't we just give them what they need to be successful? As a strange irony, though, conservative theology is wrought with incest. That's almost all they do in the Bible, is fuck each other's mothers and sisters and brothers and fathers and so on. In fact, the world was destroyed, I think, at least twice, and each time it was repopulated through massive incest. Now, obviously, all of that is false, and progressives know this. People that care about science know this, and they know that the folks that are victims of incest are victims. and they deserve all of the help and support that we can give them, and we should be giving them a lot more. But a conservative doesn't care. They only care about people that are productive. Unless you're productive, unless you can demonstrate that you have a W-2 in your hand, you're not quite a person. You're something less than a person, that's for sure. And you don't deserve any help. What's so weird about this idea of conservatism is you would think that conservatives would look into the near future, let's say 4 generations from now, and think, if we did this investing now, we would not have this problem in 4 generations. But conservatives can't think like that. They're too self-absorbed. It's all about them. They can't be parted with even another dime to solve homelessness or poverty or single mother woes, because that would take away from their bottom line. And according to them and their Ayn Randian understanding of economics, that's tyranny. It's tyranny. Well, that's all for this episode. Thank you for listening to Hot Tub Monologues.